He used the occasion not only to welcome the report, but to praise the government for setting up a cabinet committee on social exclusion. And he launched an attack on the economic policies of the last government.
Economic orthodoxies which claim the status of fixed laws of nature usually turn out to be passing intellectual fashion. One thinks of the painful adherence to gold standard economics in the 30s. More recently, we think of the excesses of one-eyed monetarism in the 80s.
Earlier in the week at the TUC conference, Dr. Cary backed the government's policy on greater union recognition. Today, the Chancellor, whose father was a church minister, defended the Archbishop's right to get involved.
I think it has been the role of the Church, from the Bible throughout the ages, to criticize errant rulers. Something I hope you may not take to excess to today.
But one former Conservative minister believes Dr. Cary has gone too far.
When it comes to backing particular policies, to castigating one party, when it comes to actually doing that, then I think the Archbishop is on very, very dangerous ground, and he will bring his church into disrepute.
But the Archbishop said tackling the curse of unemployment transcended party politics. John Andrew, BBC News.
The World Council of Churches, whose 330 members include almost all the world's main Protestant and Orthodox churches, is in financial crisis. The Central Committee, which began its annual meeting in Geneva today, has been told that it's going to have to make significant cuts in projects and staff. Our religious affairs correspondent, Alex Cary, has been to Georgia, a country which will feel the effects of the cuts.
It's a saint's day for the Georgian Orthodox Church, and the Patriarch leads the faithful into the cathedral, there to observe the age-old rituals of adoration. The Orthodox do not change, but Georgia itself has changed enormously since the Soviet Union collapsed. And for some, the change is very painful. Yet vital help from Christians overseas is starting to decline. Georgia is a country that needs all the help it can get. It used to be able to rely on help from the World Council of Churches, but that's becoming less dependable as the rich churches of the world grow less powerful and less wealthy than they used to be. Georgians of all descriptions are suffering. This church soup kitchen provides the only hot meal for many old people with nowhere else to turn. If the help from outside dries up, their plight will be grim.
The World Council is having to take a long, hard look at what it can and can't do, and whilst it will continue to provide essential coordination to the agencies such as Christian Aid, it's unlikely to provide financial support in the way it used to.
These are some of Tbilisi's thousands of street children, abandoned by their families and by the state. A lucky few come to this home outside the capital, sometimes reunited with their parents. It's run by the church and funded from abroad. Much of that funding is now under threat.
The income of the WCC has declined steadily, particularly in terms of the income received from church-related agencies, many of whom have received substantial sums from governments.
For the sick children of Georgia, there's cold comfort ahead. The British government is withdrawing funding from this project to give them free medicines. So it will have to rely on the dwindling funds of individual churches until they run out. Alex Cary, BBC News, Georgia.
Plans to convert a power station in Wales to burn the controversial fuel or emulsion have been abandoned.